Dash Talk presents Lunch with the Finance Bunch. Lunch with the Finance Bunch. Bringing money talk you can understand. And now, here's your host, Miss Charlene.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Lunch with the Finance Bunch. I'm Miss Charlene, your host, and today we're starting in our brand new studio at Dash Talk Radio. And today we have in our studio, I want to talk about, what are you doing, Matthew?
Today, make it look good for the camera.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about our new show and what we're going to talk about as Dash Radio, right? On our new show. Okay, so I want to introduce my guests. They're my crew. I'll start with the lady in the bunch, which is Leilani Cruz. And Leilani is the owner of Cruz & Co., and she has a public relations company. And to my closest left is my son, Matthew McReynolds.
I just came to do a cameo appearance, that's all. What's up, world?
Whatever. Matthew does acting.
Don't include any of my information. I'm just here for the cameo.
Whatever. And Chris, DJ Irie, is a music producer with Sony ATV Publishing.
Uh-huh.
Yes. And then our producer, who's sitting back there, who doesn't want to be seen on camera, we have Q.
Hey, what's up, world?
Yes, the owner of Island Block Radio.
Come on. Yo, you know what? As a Dash, as part of the Dash fam, I want to welcome the team here.
Thank you.
We're really excited to have Lunch with the Finance Bunch. And full disclosure, I've been working with this team almost a year.
Yes.
And we were at we had another home.
Yes, we did.
But like the Jeffersons, we moved on up, y'all.
We're moving on up.
We're here on Dash.
Yeah, let's
to
give a big
the
clap
west
for that.
side.
I appreciate the move.
So no, just welcome. We're really here. We're really excited here at Dash to have Lunch with the Finance Bunch. Finally, some
Yes.
money talk that we can understand.
Some
Cha-ching.
money talk that we can understand. And you know what? And that's what it's about. So today, for our first show, I wanted to introduce everybody to the crew. And I wanted to ask some questions because I want to know what people want to talk about, what they want to hear about as our new platform here. So I'm going to ask you guys some questions. How's that?
Okay,
Sounds good.
Are we starting with Leilani since you introduced her first?
No, we're starting with Matthew, the fashion diva.
You know what? Devo? Fashion Devo? Is that it?
That's fine.
Okay, whatever. Okay, so I'm going to start where I want because I can do that. Okay, so you guys have 10 seconds and I'm going to time you. So don't get long-winded, okay? We have an hour here. Okay, so my first question is, you know, you guys are all entrepreneurs, right?
Yes.
Okay, and why did you choose to be an entrepreneur? Let's start with that question. Leilani, why did you choose to be an entrepreneur?
Told you were going first.
Well, I'm way too bossy to take orders from anybody else but myself.
Can you say that one more time, Leilani?
Way too bossy. My attitude is really stinky. And so I can't work for anybody else. So the only way to live and live happily and blissfully is to work for myself because I could tolerate myself.
There you go. And then you get to live life according to your own rules, right?
Yes. And I am so defiant that there's no other way for me.
Exactly. I hear you. Okay, Matthew, what about you? Why are you an entrepreneur?
Because I've already worked a couple of jobs and realized I can't work for anybody else, especially being micromanaged and all of that.
Yeah.
Plus, I've always been, I guess, ambitious and had my own mind for what I wanted to do creatively. And I can't be put into the box of like a typical 9-to-5. That's just not the way
Give me
that
a
I
high five for
operate.
that.
Yeah, amen. So, hail to the no.
Okay, DJ Irie.
I'm on the same boat as Matt. I'm an artist, and I'm not good at working in taking orders, and I'm a studio rat to the fullest, and I can't do it. I got to work for myself.
Now, you know, working for yourself, it has, you know, its good points. You do get to work for yourself.
Holla.
But you also, there's some discipline that has to come with that, right?
Right. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah, because the pressure is 100% on you to, like, make things happen.
Mm-hmm.
The boat doesn't go without you.
That's right. Exactly. So, DJ Irie, what's up with you? Like, what do you think about the responsibility of being, you know, an entrepreneur?
It's tough. You know, following your passion and doing what you want to do is great and all. And of course, that's what's gonna make you happy internally. But it's hard to move forward, but also be financially stable in today's day and age, without having to work for somebody. I mean, we all have the vision that we will get there, but on the way there, there's a lot of things that we kind of don't think about, and it gets tough. Me being in the music industry, it's really hard right now to make money with the way it's changed, and I'm still trying to find my ways of how to remain afloat with being financially independent and following my career.
You know what, you bring up a great point, because being an entrepreneur, the quirky part of it is like trying to create an income while you're pursuing your passion. Exactly. Especially when you don't want to work for someone else.
Mm-hmm. Right. And trying to balance all of that, it can definitely get a little topsy-turvy.
Right, exactly. But you know what? That's the pressure of being an owner, and that never changes, I don't think. I think, you start to make more money and you get comfortable in that. But being an entrepreneur part, the ownership part, that never changes. The responsibility level just rises with the more people you employ, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, definitely. And then you kind of have to work outside of your comfort zone a lot of times so that you're not operating in fear to get towards your goal.
Exactly. Yep. So now, as a marketing person, like when you take on a client, because that's what you do, right? Well, talk about what is that? What do you do?
What is it that you do, Leilani?
Yes. Let's start there.
Talking to the mic, let us know.
I just sit pretty in the corner. No. But for my marketing and PR firm, I kind of help businesses and entrepreneurs establish an identity for their audience. And I help them build and strategically plan the way that their audience is going to perceive them. So that's ultimately, I'm all tongue twisted, and it's early.
It's very early.
I don't wake up till like 4 p.m.
Wow.
Well, it's lunchtime, so get with it.
Where's the food?
Right. Now, speaking of social media, because that's since you brought that subject up, I see a lot of crazy stuff going on social media. So I love having the millennials here so we can talk about that and how it can relate to business, And so what's up with social media?
Social media is popping out here. The internet never loses. Hashtag meme game.
Is there anything you can say is like going too far, though? Can you go too far on social media?
I think that today, like, going too far is what people want to see.
Okay.
But
unless you're the 45th.
Unless you're the 45th. Yeah.
People don't want to see that.
No. That's true too.
And it's hard. I think that it kind of has set a communication barrier for individuals. And I think that's where I kind of ride the fence. It's, yes, followers are important. And yes, having a social media presence is important, but that doesn't guarantee that your business is thriving. You can pay for followers now. You can be this fashion guru online, but you could still be at home. If you're at home taking that many pictures and you have however many thousand followers, where's your income? What are you doing?
Yes.
You can't possibly be making enough money off of the sponsorships or whatever else to just have that much time on your hand.
What do you say, Matt?
No, I would definitely like to piggyback off of that and say definitely, because I think there's a lot of smoke and mirrors when it comes to social media. Because, I've seen plenty of people in person where they'll have 50,000, 100,000 followers, and they work at McDonald's and they're not making any money.
Or they're still living with their mom and dad.
Swag.
Okay, so let's talk about that.
Shouts out to all the parents.
Supporting your children in their dreams.
Yeah, but how do we change those dreams and make them a tangible reality? I think that's one of the things that, really hurts my heart, that I see all this talent, and a lot of it's not translating into dollars.
For
well,
me,
you gotta sell some flat tummy tea. What else they got?
the booty
they
lift.
got the push-up bras without the waistband, so you got to connect with them.
Well, also for a lot of the successful businesses and entrepreneurs who do have a strong following and their business is thriving, they have people running those social media accounts. That's where people like me come in.
Right.
The ones that are trying to do it on their own, like, you need to be working until the point that you can hire somebody to manage that aspect of the business. And I think that that's where some of us millennials get it mixed up. Like, you literally have to work and slave away at what you are going to do. That's ultimately how people become successful. They become an expert in their field.
Right.
Once they get to that level of expertise, they don't have time to be posting on social media. They're out there hustling.
That's right.
100%.
And when you do get to a certain level, you're able to bring on a social media crew. You're able to bring on these people who can help you brand and build your business. Whereas other people are just trying to do it like, I'm going to do everything. Well, you have to balance everything too, because you also have bills to pay. You need a roof over your head. You need food on the table. Like, there's other things that are important. And I don't think that we realize that with today's day and age.
Right. I think that's not a focus. And like Matt said, you can see someone who has 100,000 followers and they don't have any cash that responds to the type of viewership they're getting.
They are not making it rain in the club.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so, like DJ Irie, we were talking a little bit too, and we're talking about music and how much things have changed in the music industry, where pretty much almost everything is free. Like, you can download a song, you can download, music for free now. And so artists who have all this talent, have to find other ways of making money. Am I right?
Yeah, no, that's right. Me as a writer, we depend on publishing from each song, and the music industry has changed. Like you said, with music streaming, with Apple Music, Spotify.
Shazam.
There's so much music coming out. It's hard for even people to remember songs anymore, and so much artists are dropping so much music, and we get a small percentage. You're only making money in the publishing side when you're working with a lot of more of the A-list artists.
Okay.
Taylor Swift, Justin Bieber. That's where you'll be able to live financially independent, or you just need one of those to definitely break you and get you into the industry. Me, I'm still trying to get that first big placement. And I know once I get that, it'll open up a lot of doors. But until then, it's I have to find my ways to keep going with what I'm doing, but also, take care of my bills.
Right.
And,
so now multiple streams of income, that's what that turns into. And I think some of the disconnect, just from what I see, some of the disconnect is that with millennials, the disconnect is that hustle part, like the part where you have to grind and figure out how to make money while you make your dreams come true.
But yeah, that's because there's a huge sense of entitlement with the younger generation. Like, they feel like everything should be given to them versus like people from like our age demographic. Even though we are in the millennials, we're kind of like the older millennials. So we still have like adopted like that whole like hustle format. Because it's like, if you don't go get it, nobody's going to give it to you.
And it's part of society too. Like, we are the older generation of the millennials, but like, when we were younger, we had to work hard for what we got.
Yes.
Not everybody on my basketball team was awarded a trophy for effort. Like, if you were the star player, you got a trophy. If you did this, you had to work for what you earned. Versus today, like, parents just want to baby you. And I mean, I don't want to blame it on the older generation, but I'm pointing fingers.
We're trying our best. But that's where, where me being representative of the older generation who have a millennial adult, and we don't know what to do because, we want to be supportive and we want to be encouraging and we want to give, and we do give, but then it's like a double-edged sword. If you give too much, you ruin the respect for work. And then if you don't give enough, you might put them in harm's way, because I think speaking from my generation, we've seen the harm that can happen if you don't support what someone is trying to do. So that's why we do it. But there's this rope you walk, because you don't want somebody laying out in their bedroom smoking weed and not doing anything all day.
Just
You
being
know?
creative.
Just being creative.
For real.
Mom, I'm being creative. Yeah, right. No. So, that's the transition that I'd like to see. And that's really what Lunch with the Finance Bunch is about, is to talk about these things and to kind of see how the generations can not only coexist, but get along and can learn from each other and prosper and grow.
Well, I think especially when it comes to learning from each other, because I feel like in today's model, like the American dream has
Yes.
completely changed and altered, because
Absolutely.
the old business model of going to school, getting a job, and then being able to retire 40 years from then
Right.
is completely gone.
Yeah, it's not there anymore.
Yeah. And I also feel that people should kind of focus more on trades
Yes.
and not necessarily their education.
Oh, we're going to talk about that too.
And developing like skill sets, because everybody has skills. So being able to like
Yes.
figure them out and honing on them so that they can make the most money or be the most advantageous, whether they're trying to get a job or trying to be an entrepreneur. Like you have
Yes.
to be able to expose and figure out what those are.
Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about next. You guys are tuned in to Lunch with the Finance Bunch on Dash Talk Radio, and we'll be right back. Thanks for tuning in. This is Miss Charlene with Lunch with the Finance Bunch on Dash Talk Radio. And so we were talking about, Leilani, I wanted you to finish your thought. What were you saying over there?
That we should be focusing a little bit more on a skill and trade set versus
Yes.
our actual education, just because the model of what education is supposed to be and how students transition and go into the workforce is no longer.
Yes.
So
And it's too damn expensive.
And it's expensive. So if there's anybody that's a part of the government, you can forgive my loans now.
Anytime they call, I just, Matt's dead. Let's forgive all of that and let's keep it moving.
Yeah, they could wait.
Yeah, they definitely could wait,
They could
because
wait
they're not
till I'm
getting a check from
60.
me for a cool
I
bill.
always get on Chris. I'm like, did you pay your monthly school bill? And he's like, they can wait for my money. They don't need it.
Nope.
Exactly.
But you know
My
what?
bills are right now.
But you know what? That's the other part. Like all this debt that, young people are getting into trying to get an education. And how many of them are actually using that education?
I didn't learn anything that I didn't already know from school. What I did learn is how to grow my network.
Yes.
And after that, that's how I transitioned, if I could spoke right.
It's not it's not afternoon.
Okay, we
4
might need
o'clock
some
yet.
education up in here.
But that's how I transitioned into owning my own business. Was after college, with all the debt that I did have, there was no entering position,
Yes.
entry level position that would pay me enough to pay off my debt and allow me to live.
Yes.
And so I had to make my own wages, and nobody else was going to tell me how much I was worth.
Yes.
So that is part of my motive of working for myself and starting my own business.
For sure, because I feel like a lot of colleges is like, they're like, oh, get your education, do this, do that. But they don't set you up 100% with the tools or the skills to like get you to that next leap, like once you're out of
Yes.
college. Especially like when it comes to getting jobs and creating job leads and, getting you in a networking system that can kind of like help elevate what you're already doing.
Yeah.
Especially like for me, because I went to school at FITM, shout out to FITM, in LA for fashion. And literally as soon as I graduated, we were going through the recession.
Yes.
So fashion is like one of the biggest things that gets hit. And so everybody that had these big time multi-level positions at different fashion companies were getting laid off. And so as a fashion student, they were offering us like entry level positions for all
Yes.
these different jobs. But because of the recession, a lot of like seasoned veterans were taking those jobs.
Right.
So, you can go from making $100,000, but you'll take a $35,000 entry level position just to stay afloat.
Yes. Right.
And so for me, I'm like, oh, okay, so what's my plan B now?
Right.
So it also kind of like, I don't want to say forced me to be an entrepreneur because I was already had that mindset going out, but it just helped propel it even more.
Right. Yeah. So, and we're going to have a show and talk about education, and you know what? Education is a business. The universities, all of that is business. So they're selling their goods.
Exactly. So Sally Mae, Navient, I want my money back.
I don't know that you've
Or
given
just
them
declare
much
that I'm
money.
dead and we're good.
Now, I want to talk too about we've got all these great creative artists who are making all this music, and do they own the publishing rights to their music? Do they own their songs? Like, how else can they make money? So there's so many avenues that Lunch with the Finance Bunch loves to explore, and we're all about how to make financial literacy make sense. Make money make sense, and how to get from the classroom and from behind that camera and off the couch into a position where you can make some money. Because without money, you can't make financial decisions. There's no financial decision you can make on zero.
Money makes the world go round.
Absolutely. Right?
Yep.
So, when we talk about the education system, we're going to get off of them for a minute, because that's a whole show in itself. So, like in business, who do you guys admire in business? Like, who do you feel is like a guru in business for you? Leilani, what about you? Who's a big one for you?
My person has nothing to do with communications or PR or anything, but okay. I really respect Denzel Washington.
Okay.
Only because of what he portrays. I mean, I guess it does have to do with PR and marketing and the way that he presents himself, but the way that his story, what he has portrayed, the way that he carries himself within his family, and how he has held on to his belief system while achieving success.
Okay.
So that to me is very, I guess I really just respect him. I was all looking for a big word, like, okay, the dictionary in my head. Still too early for all that.
But you know what? He's a walking corporation.
Yeah.
He really is. So I can see that. Okay, Matt, what about you?
I have so many people that are running through my head right now.
Only one. You have 10 seconds.
Nah, I'm not. I'll pick two.
Okay.
This is you being defiant.
Of course.
Defiant. You know what? That's funny, because I was going to say, I just watched a HBO special called Defiant Ones, like talking about music. So two music people that I got in the game. Well, actually, there's three. That really come to mind are Diddy. I absolutely love P. Diddy. Whether you love him or you hate him, his work ethic and his ambition to get whatever he wants in life is, oh my goodness, it's on 1,000.
I think he tweeted the other day something about like, be a lion, be a shark, be all these mean things. And then he was like, and still be a good person.
For real. So he is a conqueror for real in like every aspect of what he wants to do, which I absolutely love. And also Jay-Z. I love Jay-Z as far as a business mogul, coming from the block to corporate America and being able to be one of the biggest hip hop moguls that we've ever seen is just really, really inspiring. And him also being able to like teach the youth and give them game on like how he got there and different steps that he did.
Yes.
So if you haven't checked out that 444 album, he's giving you $1 million a game for $9.99.
Yeah, yeah. So now, Chris, and who are some business people that you admire?
There's a couple people that are in the music industry that have went into the business side as well, and those are people that I can respect because they're motivating me to stay in that path. But someone like Dr. Dre, for example, we're in the same lane. We come from the production and engineering side, but he also made his investments when he did make money off music, with Apple Music and Beats by Dre. Just people that use their money wise when they get it from their passion. Another person is one of my favorite producers is a guy named Alex the Kid, who's also a music producer but has ventured out and created his own record label, but still is able to produce, run a business, and control everything, control all of his own music.
Can I bring up a point?
Yes.
That I think we all kind of said was every person that we've admired has not been a rule follower.
Not right.
And
exactly.
so I think that's an important topic to talk about because following the rules, all you're doing is staying in your lane.
Yeah.
There's nothing that can be grown from that. There's no weeds that can come out of that. There's no way that you're going to attract attention. You're going to attract wealth. You're going to attract new things for other people to show that you can do something,
right.
No matter what it is. Every person that I think we've mentioned has been somewhat of a rule breaker, and that's what has help them achieve their success.
Exactly. Just like, Chris mentioned, like Apple, right? I mean, who's the guru of Apple, right? Who owned it? Steve Jobs. And that's
crazy.
Right. And that's someone to be quite honest, that's someone that I admired because he's a rule breaker. He did his own thing and he created an empire, and people thought he was crazy. They even fired him from his own company.
And then hired him
and
back
then had
because
to hire
he had
him
the
back.
juice.
Well, because, that's something else we're going to talk about too. You are your idea. And no one can steal that from you. And no matter how many people duplicate it or copy it, it's never the original.
You can't fire me. I am Apple.
Exactly. So they had to bring him back to run it. So that's someone that I admire. And of course, Oprah Winfrey.
Oh, Lord. Who doesn't admire her?
Well, I mean, she does have her haters, but so what? I love her,
Oprah, you can come fund us. And also pay all my student loans. I love you, Oprah.
Oh, hot mess. Okay, so now we are going to transition a little bit and we're going to go into the next segment of our show. And that segment is our balance sheet. So when we come back, we're going to talk about the balance sheet. And the balance sheet is a part of how we balance our lives. And I'm going to ask you some questions about that. And so you stay tuned. We'll be right back. This is Miss Charlene, Lunch with the Finance Bunch on our new radio station, Dash Talk Radio. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Dash Talk Radio. I'm your host, Miss Charlene, on Lunch with the Finance Bunch, and we're giving you money talk that's easy to understand. Okay, so on this segment of the show, we call it our balance sheet. And so I'm going to ask you guys a series of questions, and I want you all to answer them. Okay? Ready? All right. First question. What is the most memorable paycheck you've ever had? And I'm going to start with you, Matthew.
I'm going to start with Chris. Go ahead, Chris.
It is when I got my publishing deal with Sony ATV.
Ooh. Now, you don't have to say how much because we don't want to talk about that. But was it a sweet check?
It was a sweet check. And
it shook the bank a little bit.
I thought I was rich.
Ooh. So what is something that you purchased that you now regret?
My son. Oh, no, not not the regret. No.
Gotta love the fur children.
Yes.
Probably all the food we ate. How much we went out to eat.
Wow.
Speak for yourself. I enjoyed it.
Okay. Leilani, what is the most memorable paycheck you've ever had?
I had a client fly me out and house me and do all these great things for me in a foreign country. And so at the time I was like, I'm just going to go do this trip, work. And I wasn't expecting to get paid because of all the amenities that were taken care of.
Right.
When I got the check back, I was like, oh my gosh. But it helped solidify that what I do is worth something.
That's right.
That was probably the most memorable paycheck.
Wow. Okay. And Matt, what was your most memorable paycheck?
It was an unexpected paycheck that I got working a Samsung commercial. I just gave them a plug, so we're even. but I ended up doing this commercial, and I ended up getting upgraded on the commercial, and had no idea that I was going to get an upgrade on it, and it was a big ass check, big enough to where I kind of got scared and put it in the bank immediately because
you didn't want it to bounce.
No, I just figured if they made a typo, the money is mine now. So, try to get it back. Just like Sally Mae and Navia, you're not getting that money back.
Oh, gosh, here we go.
We're angry millennials.
And my biggest mistake is probably I spent all of it. And then I was scratching my head like, damn, where did all the money go?
That was fast.
I couldn't even account for it. I had a whole bunch of clothes and everything though, so it was I definitely enjoyed it. I went to a bunch of concerts and
Turned up.
Shoes.
definitely.
Okay. What do you know now that you wish you knew back then? Now I'm going to start with Leilani with that one.
Man, why do I always have to start first?
Well,
Look, back to Chris.
What I wish I knew back then.
that you know now that you wish you knew back then.
Probably. I don't know, because it's kind of like a two-way street. I established my credit really early, and today I have really great credit, but I also have a lot of debt. So I wish I would have paced myself instead of like, I don't know how that kind of levels out, but I do pay my bills on time, just so you guys all know. But the limits of my cards are, as they increase, so did my debt.
Yeah. Okay. You know, and the reason I'm asking these questions because these are all topics that people want to know. Like, and we're going to be able to help them with all of that on this show. That's why we're called Lunch with the Finance Bunch, because we talk about the money.
And don't get me wrong,
solutions.
because my debt is, I think, pretty much explained. I had to start my own business, so.
Okay.
Shouts out to all the entrepreneurs.
Shout out to the entrepreneurs. Okay, Chris, I'm going to go to you next because if I don't, Matthew's going to divert to you anyway. And even though this is my show, he's really bossy.
No, I would
So I'm
just
gonna
say
go to
back
you
to
next.
Char. We would have Charlene answering the question.
Go ahead,
I buy you
Chris.
some time, Chris.
One of my mistakes was, well, in a sense, I've always believed in myself 100% that as long as I worked hard, it was going to come back to me. Until the year started stretching a little bit, and then bills started kicking in, and it wasn't the fact that I believed in myself too much, but maybe just preparing myself a little more, and not being such a free, creative mind.
Okay, so you got to pace that paycheck.
Yeah, and man, money. I never knew how fast money runs.
Yeah, and I think that's something that we really need to talk about on the show too, is that when you get these big checks, even though it's so tempting to just spend like crazy.
Oh my goodness. Set
You
that
know?
money on fire, people.
Yeah. So Matt, what about you? Quickly.
Something that you've like paced in my head 100 million times when I was younger that I kind of took for granted was saving money. I'm seeing like the older you get, like the more important it is to save money, especially so that, you have flexibility and you have that rainy day money in case like different things happen, because I have definitely blown through a lot of money, and I don't even want to say rebellious at times, but just being young and wanting to do my own thing. And now that I see that, I see the importance of it, because then it gives you leverage to do more things that you want to do in the future.
Exactly. So you're learning. You're all learning. I
trying to
like
learn.
that. Well, that's what the show's about, is to show balance. That's why we got the balance sheet here, is so that you can see the balance. I don't think people should live their life one-dimensional. I don't think you should spend your whole life saving, and never
Spend that
doing.
check.
You see what I'm saying? and not get anything, in return. I think you should turn up, have a great time, party, travel, do all of that, but in balance.
How do you like to turn up, Charlene?
I love to travel. I love to buy shoes. I like to go out on girls' night and party a little bit. I do. Anyway, but shoes are my big thing. I love shoes. I absolutely love shoes. So I like to buy shoes.
I know, it's annoying. She literally has like weird packages, and I'm like, don't worry, guys. It's just.
But she gets on me for buying shoes.
But I balance. And that's what it's about. Balance.
I balance too. I balance out with Nikes I like, with Jordans.
Okay, I have another question.
Spread it all around.
I have another question. Who is on the $500 bill?
Don't ask me, because I don't even.
Did you even know there was one?
I didn't know there was a $500 bill, a $1,000 bill. We had this conversation. I was like, what? But if I can
that's
get,
real money.
if I could get 10 or 20 of those 500s just to spend.
Okay. What? Who's on it? Matt, do you know?
Obama. I said Obama is on the $500 bill.
Who's on the $500 bill, Chris?
I didn't even know there was one.
Hold on, let me Google this.
See,
like, what?
there's a $500 bill.
That's how you know we don't know anything about money.
Well,
I can tell you who's on the $100 bill. Benjamin Franklin.
exactly. I have a question too. Another question. What does success mean to you? And I'm going to start with you, Matthew, again, and don't you divert to anyone else.
Back to you, Leilani. No, just
What does success mean to you?
I think being able to be empowered to do what you want to do.
Okay. I
think
that.
that's my definition of success, because you can't really put a dollar amount to it, because I used to think that way, like, man, if I had $1 billion, all the success, have every business venture that I had be, successful, and I'm doing my thing as success. But now I realize it's really just being able to have the freedom and access to do whatever you want to be able to do, and do it by your own terms. And also the quality of life, because like when I was younger, I used to just be hustle, and I used to burn myself into the ground. And now I realize the quality of life, especially because, nobody, your time on this earth is short. So
right.
You got to enjoy it.
You got to enjoy it. Okay, now, Chris, I'm going to go to you next because Leilani is going to divert to you anyway.
And
So
William McKinley is on the $500 bill.
Who?
William.
Okay.
Never heard of him.
She Googled it. I know, you cheated. Anyway, go ahead, Chris.
I mean, to me, it's just internal happiness when whatever you're doing. There's many rich people who still aren't happy, and there's and many poor people that are happy. So just being comfortable, or just being comfortable with yourself, and how do I explain this in the way I'm trying to say it? But yeah, basically internal happiness, and just keep doing what you want to do.
Yeah, you know what? Because internal happiness is something that you cannot purchase.
Yeah,
that's someplace you got to get to.
And
and
that I
so
can't really
that.
explain, because it's different for everybody.
It's different for
I
everyone.
know what would make me happy and which brings true success to me, but it's different for everybody. Everybody has different paths,
That's right.
different passions. For me, success would be seeing all of my friends and family happy.
Yes.
And once I know that's fine, then I'll be happy. But until then, I'm trying to make it for everybody.
Okay. And Leilani, what's success to you, sweetie?
Success to me would be being able to be in a position to help others be successful.
Okay.
And I think that would really define success for me, because I would be able to provide opportunities and growth and a better lifestyle for others. And once I reach that point, I have a heart,
look
Matthew.
at you, Leilani. So cute.
Okay,
Don't be fooled.
Okay, so do you guys think you're successful?
Don't believe Leilani. She's a savage.
Matthew, this is a question. So do you guys think you're successful?
Yes.
Yes?
I'm still achieving my success.
Okay, Matt?
I think so, because everything that I've wanted into this point, I've been able to get. So
Okay.
yes. Shoes.
All right, those are honest answers. All right, so we're going to take a little break right now. This is Lunch with the Finance Bunch. This is Miss Charlene, and we're on Dash Talk Radio, and we'll be right back. Thank you for tuning in to Dash Talk Radio. I'm your host on Lunch with the Finance Bunch, and I want to thank my guests for coming in. DJ Irie, thank you so much. Matthew, the actor, the connoisseur.
Oh, yeah, give me all my
the
praise.
fashion
Thank me for being here.
all
I took
of
my
that.
hard time to be here, man.
I want to thank
And
you.
I had to
Turn his
drive-
mic off. Turn his
Please
mic
turn
off.
his mic off. And to Leilani Cruz, our princess and marketing extraordinaire, I want to thank you.
Thank you for having me.
And we're in our new home at Dash Radio. Thank you so much, Dash, for having me. And thank you to my audience for following me over to Dash. I love you guys. And we're going to promise you that we're going to take this to the next level. This is Miss Charlene, your host on Lunch with the Finance Bunch. Tune in to Dash Talk every Tuesday at noon, where we're serving money talk you can understand.